Hey gamers! Welcome to a new episode of the ReInstall series brought to you by GameEnthusiast.net. In the last episode, we featured SAS Software's open world truck driving simulator, 18 Wheels of Steel Convoy. For this episode, we're taking things back to the realm of fantasy, the world of Sonic the Hedgehog, to be exact. Back in episode 3, we featured Sonic Heroes. In today's episode, we'll be taking a look at the 2005 release of Sonic Riders. Being Sega's third attempt at trying to get the Sonic series into the racing genre, and the kickoff for the Bluebirds' 15th anniversary, Riders had a lot of weight to carry on its shoulders. So, how does it stack up?
This contest will kick off in a short time.
Behold the power of the Chaos Emerald.
Super Sonic goes down. Makes a nice landing.
Sonic Riders was the first racing game in the series in 8 years. Previously, Sonic Team tried to have Sonic accompany racing cars in Sonic Drift, and then on foot in Sonic R. Neither of these titles were considered truly successful. With that in mind, it's easy to see why almost a decade had passed before it was decided to give the series another shot at the racing genre. With Riders, Sonic Team decided to use the experience they had gained from Sonic Adventure and Heroes and create a Sonic title that had its own story, but with everything revolving around racing, hoverboard racing to be exact. The futuristic design gave the game a bit of an identity of its own, rather than another obvious attempt at trying to branch off of Mario's success. While the game's story certainly isn't one of its best features, the gameplay does make up for it to a good extent. Sonic Riders allows you to take control of a variety of different characters. Each of the characters are separated into one of 3 categories: speed, power, and flight, just like the aforementioned Sonic Heroes. Each track in the game has shortcuts that are specific to each of the categories. Speed characters can grind on rails, while flying characters can fly through the air for a short period of time, and power characters can punch through walls and other heavy obstacles. This varied selection of characters adds an interesting flair to the game. Even so, which type of character you choose isn't really all that important, it's just a matter of what you're comfortable with. What really matters is what vehicle you decide to use. Referred to as extreme gear, these vehicles are also varied in type. Of course, there's the traditional hoverboards, but you also have hover bikes and hover skates. Each piece of gear handles fairly differently, so it's crucial to experiment to see which you like better. New gear is obtained by visiting the shop. The currency is made up of the rings you collect in each race. Seeing that these are hover vehicles, you may be wondering where they get their energy from. That's a key component to the gameplay. It's called the air gauge. Similar to the gas gauge in a traditional vehicle, the air gauge shows how much air is remaining in the tank. When you run out of air, your racer is then forced to run. While each character is able to run at a fairly fast pace, it's still not fast enough to keep up with the other racers. That's why it's crucial to avoid running out of air, which is done by perfectly pulling off tricks and collecting short bursts via item boxes. If you do run out, there are stations which can fill the tank back up. However, this will cost you a few seconds, which could mean losing the race. It's mainly this game mechanic which separates Riders from the general selection of arcade racers, and that's a pretty good thing. Now then, how about the tracks? Sonic Riders features a total of 10 main tracks that are free to race under normal circumstances, as well as 3 unlockable extras. The 10 main tracks are primarily made up of 5 originals. The other 5 are variations of each track. For instance, the main track, Metal City, has the variation Night Chase. The difference between the two is mainly a change in aesthetics, with a few design changes here and there. But for the most part, they're practically 2 sides of the same coin. This is one of the problems with the game, as it does seem like a lazy development decision. Nevertheless, the core game is still very fun to play. The sense of speed is amazing, and the level of satisfaction you get by pulling off a solid combo of different tricks is definitely very high. Not to mention the fact that the course designs are actually really well done. They're all a bit outlandish, far different from what you'd see in a normal racing game, and that's a good thing. Now, it is true that the controls are a bit twitchy. It's very easy to find yourself careening into a wall or pulling off a trick you didn't intend to do. Even so, once you get used to it, it'll all start to come together pretty smoothly. As far as presentation goes, Sonic Riders was a decent looking title back in its day. While there's certainly nothing impressive about it now, it still managed to have aged fairly well. Like Sonic Heroes, the character models do seem to be less detailed than they should. However, this is something that's only really obvious during the game's cutscenes. Like practically every game in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, Riders has a pretty solid soundtrack. All of the songs in the game are fast-paced and wild, as they should be since it is a racing game. For the most part, they have a techno rock style to them, which also fits the theme of the game, but they all do have the potential to get stuck in your head. Overall, the presentation aids the gameplay pretty well. Sonic Riders proved to be successful enough for SEGA to have Sonic Team turn it into a trilogy. Sonic Riders Zero Gravity was released exclusively for the Wii and PS2 in 2008, and Sonic Free Riders was released exclusively for the Xbox 360 Kinect back in 2010. While both these titles added on to the formula that the original Riders established, they were both flawed. Zero Gravity was received with the same fair level of quality, while Free Riders dropped it all to the floor with mostly negative remarks. In the end, Sonic Riders is a pretty decent arcade racer. It doesn't borrow too much from Mario Kart where it would make it seem like an overly complicated clone, but rather a fair attempt at trying to challenge it. Of course, its quality isn't anywhere near the Mario Kart series, but Riders is still a fun game. While its story mode won't wow you, the track design and trick system is nice, as is the presentation. The controls take some getting used to, but once you do, there's a good chance you'll be left feeling pretty satisfied. Alright guys, that brings an end to this episode of ReInstall. As always, thanks for watching. If you're a newcomer, do check out the rest of the series as well as the other content that we have here on the channel, and on our main website at gamingenthusiast.net. Also make sure to visit our sister sites, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox Enthusiasts. Both Nintendo and PlayStation Enthusiasts also have their own YouTube channels, so visit them too. Finally, feel free to browse around my own channel at Extreme Zero. You just may find something you like. With that said guys, thanks again for watching and enjoy yourself. Until next time, keep on gaming!